Lesson 4.6. We are on the second to last one, boys and girls. We are so close. Analyzing statistics. We've been putting our stats into graphs for a little bit now, but now let's look at them and take some time to really think about what it is we are talking about. Our target for the day is to analyze how characteristics of a data set affect the measures of center. Remember that the measures of center are mean, mode, and median. Those are the measures of center. They are the averages. We're going to analyze how the data affect the measures of center. We have one vocab term today, and that is an outlier, which is something that lies out. An extreme value that varies greatly from the other values in a data set. So something that kind of sticks out in the data set. So if you've got a room full of cats and suddenly there's a dog, well, that's not exactly a good example of an outlier, but it gets the point across. Some people come in, each person says they have 2 cats, suddenly someone comes in, they say they have 30 cats. That number is an outlier. It doesn't really match the rest of the data. When analyzing statistics, it's important to take the following into account: where the data came from, how much data was collected, how spread out the data is, and any clusters that are present. Outliers can have a large impact on the mean, the regular average, but little impact on the median or mode. Statistics from a larger data set are usually more reliable than stats from a smaller data set. The more data you have, the more reliable your statistics are. You wouldn't want to just ask 2 or 3 people to get a general idea. 200 or 300 people, on the other hand, probably much more accurate. So let's start with example 1. We're going to find our 3 measures of center for each data set and then determine which measure of center best represents each data set. So if we were looking at this data set and say this was the number of, I don't know, pairs of shoes each kid had, we want to know what's the average number of pairs of shoes for the class, for this group of kids. So let's find out the 3 averages. The mean, add them all up and divide by the number of numbers, and we have 9 numbers there, it looks like. Add them all up, we get 45. We divide that by 9, and we get 5. Okay, so if we just took the straight mean, the average, that would be 5. The median's the number in the middle. First things first, put them in order from smallest to largest, and the median here is, oh, it's also 5. Cool. And the mode, well, it looks like there's 2 modes here. 2 and 8. Interesting that they're the smallest and the largest numbers. So, which measure of center would you use to describe the average number of shoes that these kids have? Which would you say, oh, the kids have each an average of about this many pairs? Well, since there are 2 modes, it wouldn't be the best measure of center since there's 2 of them. The mean or median does a pretty good job representing this data set best. Either mean or median in this case. They're both 5, so it works either way. Let's look at a different set of numbers. All right. One of these things is not like the others. Let's find the mean here. We add those all up, we get 105, we divide by 7, and we get 15. Interesting that 15 is smaller than all but 2 of the numbers. Finding the median, put them all in order, and find the middle one. In this case, it's 18. And the mode is, in this case, 19. So which data set, which measure of center best represents the data set? In this case, it's the median. The mean is affected by that one thing that doesn't quite fit in, the outlier. Look at these numbers: 12, 17, 18, 19, 19, 19, and 1. That 1 pulls the mean down. It's like when we have star scores. One person with a really high score will pull our average up, whereas a person with a low score pulls the average down by a lot. So just like in that case, in this case, that 1 is pulling the average way down. So the mean doesn't really do a good job of representing this data set. And neither does the mode, because all 3 of those 19s are the highest number. And there's 3 of them, but it's not a good way of representing this set of data because there's other numbers in here too, and just as many. In this case, the median is the best measure of center. I think one last, for example, one. Find our measures of center, finding the mean, add them all up, divide by 10, since there's 10 numbers, and we add them up, we get 95, divided by 10 is 9.5, all right? The median in this case is 10. 10 plus 10 divided by 2 is 10. And the mode in this case is also, quite obviously, 10. So which is our best measure of center here? In this case, all three do a pretty good job. However, when there are this many values that are exactly the same, such as in this data set when there's 8 tens, the mode is the best choice. Since 8 out of the 10 numbers are tens, the mode represents the data set best.